Okay, so we haven't had that experience yet this year. It seems to happen at least once or twice a year for whatever reason that we tend to lose our composure as a team. It can happen whether you're on the winning side or it can happen whether you're on the losing side. It doesn't really seem to matter. I think, to be honest with you, it was a two-way street most of the time. But I think our sloppiness and generally speaking, our physicality was not what the officials were looking for. They were looking to call a nice tight game. They tend to do that in every game they call, especially the one guy. So the thing about it, there's no secret. I told you guys before the game, it's one thing if you get blindsided by something at life, right? If you fail in a task but you didn't know what you were up against, well, then the next time you can say, well, at least now I know what I'm up against, and you should do better. But when you're given the answers to the test and you still fail the test, that's a big problem. So I think there is some degree that we all need to look introspectively into the character of how we played this game tonight. From concentration, discipline, those are the two things. I think in order to play good lacrosse within the confines of the way the NCJLA wants to, there's a limited amount of physicality that they allow, and that's just life, you know? You want to go head-to-head with people, you better be playing football these days because they do not allow it in lacrosse anymore, okay? Now, when you're a football player and you get on the lacrosse field in the heat of battle, every now and again, it's a little hard to forget that you can't just run somebody over like a tractor, okay? And I think that's what happened with Sammy in that moment. The problem is he's so fast that he builds up momentum and inertia extremely quick, and he's like a rock. You don't want to run into that kid when he's running fast. And that kid went down hard. So, but you know what? That isn't what made him, I have no, that was lacrosse. That happens, okay? The reaction to it was what was really inappropriate in my opinion, okay? To have another coach come across the box and curse and whatever, we are supposed to be at a higher level. We've been down the road a piece. That's why we are coach. That's why we get this little shirt that says coach, okay? That's why we go through, courses, all right, to conduct ourselves in a manner that's commensurate with sportsmanship, no matter what the circumstances. That's where my discipline needs to come in. I've had one flag as a coach in my 8 or 9 years with this club. And it was a game that got very heated, and I felt like they were not protecting our players. We were getting just slaughtered, lots of hits to the head and so on. And so I rode the official, and I said, listen, da-da-da-da-da, and he didn't like it, and he threw the flag, and it may have even been that guy. So the issue here is it's like going into a classroom and maligning the teacher or talking or letting the teacher hear you say bad things about them. You think they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt the next time there's an issue in that classroom and you may or may not be involved? No. So those three officials you guys saw tonight, you'll see them again this season. Ask yourself a question. Are you going to get the benefit of the doubt next time? No, sir. Okay? So now we have built a little bit bigger of a mountain. All right? Not that we can't climb it. Not that we can't conquer it. But you need to learn from it. Our job is to come out here and play good physical lacrosse within the confines of the NCJLA rules, and we didn't do that well tonight. We had too many offsides. We had too many from behinds. We had too many slashes. And we had several unsportsmanlike type issues. It put us in the box for long periods of time. We cannot do that against the better teams. There was no doubt we were going to win this game from the minute we stepped on this field. But again, like I told you at the other end zone before this game started, I'm not looking just for W's and L's. I'm looking for developing character, building fine young men. And some of that slipped away tonight. We get it back tomorrow. But I do want you thinking about it tonight. I want you to think about what you did and what you can do better. How you can keep things under control. How do you manage your temper? How do you channel your anger and your frustration into productive play? Okay? That's what you need to work on. Because that's the lesson in life. And not to ignore the anger, not to say it's not there, not to ignore the frustration, because it happens to all of us. But to take it, internalize it, accept it, embrace it, and do something good with it. That's what we need to do. Get the next ground ball. Bury the next shot that you have. Run up the field as fast as you possibly can like Jackson did. That was like a lightning bolt, Jackson. That's what you need to do. And you know what? It's not as sexy, it's not as polished, it may not get the press in the paper, but you've done something good. You've shown self-discipline, and you've shown the ability to channel your anger and frustration. Because let me tell you, this will happen in the real world. Somebody at your job, maybe your spouse, will present things in a manner that anger you, and you want to just strike back. Say something bad. Get an attitude. Make a face. When you should just bring it in, step back, and be the bigger person. Make the best of the situation. And that's what I'm expecting from you guys every game down the road. I do not want to see this type of play again. I will not tolerate it. Okay? Most of you did a pretty good job of channeling. I think the officials, when they officiate like they did, sort of incited it. I really do. I think it became an adversarial thing. There wasn't a lot of lacrosse allowed to play. It was whistle, flag, you be quiet, son, you do this. At some point in time, you gotta let kids play, okay? There were a lot of calls that I thought were inappropriate, and there were some calls that were very appropriate. But I can't control that, and I'm not gonna ride the official because then he's just gonna call it more, okay? So, I want you guys to think about individually where you went tonight, and it's not every one of you, by the way. But collectively as a team, we didn't look good tonight. We didn't represent Gold Country in the manner in which we need to. So that's what we need to work on. Nice win. It's going to look good on the books, although it's not as good a win as it could have been because there were all these distractions. I didn't even get to enjoy the win because I was so caught up in the penalties and the man down and the officials yelling and the this and the that. So it wasn't an enjoyable win for me. And yet it's a W in the books, which we need to move on with our goals this season. So we didn't learn a lot about lacrosse tonight, but maybe we learned some good life lessons. I hope so. Take credence in it. Maybe one of you could have talked another one down at one point in time tonight when you saw another kid getting really frustrated. Like I talked to you before, that's lifting someone up, okay? Kind of a, opposite end, okay? You're talking a guy down, but what you're doing is you're lifting him up because you're making him a better person. You're allowing him to function before he does something that's stupid, like a stupid penalty, a stupid slash, running your mouth, antagonizing the official, okay? So, from a lacrosse perspective, tough to say how we performed tonight. I didn't think it was our best night. It really didn't matter. The opponent was inferior, and we were going to win the game. From a behavioral standpoint, we need to tighten that up, okay? We got a big week of practice. We got some nice games next weekend. It's a Friday, Sunday, correct?
Yes. Yep.
So hopefully the attendance will be reasonable at practice this week. We'll probably be doing the same schedule. Monday up here, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, South County. We're going to do that for 2 more weeks. So I know guys who live up at NU now, you're going to South County. It was just like the guys who live south, they have to go up to NU on those Wednesdays. Whatever the case may be, that's where it's going to be so I can still be in the mix on Wednesdays. And we'll get that done with the JV because we have some productive practices, and we're going to have full field so we can do more games.
Guys, when we practiced with the JV, you guys picked it up last time. That was very sad.
I think JV does too. They play way different against us than they do in games.
Yeah.
A lot less aggressive.
Yeah. So, any questions? Any injuries tonight? Besides some egos from time to time, being called on penalties that you didn't think happened, or just frustrated with yourself for letting things go a little bit. Like I said, it's okay to be frustrated. I know Sammy took that hit real personal. He's not. That's what I said to the coach. I said, coach, I said, you don't know that kid. I said, he's not that kid. I said, I don't have any of those kids, actually. I said, it was just aggressive lacrosse, and things were escalating, and that happened. I said, but he's not the kid you made him out to be. And I said, we as coaches need to communicate in a professional manner across the box, which I didn't feel he did. So, like, I'm going to control any one of your behaviors. Didn't we talk about that at the beginning of the game?
Coach.
I can't control your behavior. What's the coach riding me for that one of my kids had a good shot at another kid? I'll deal with it when he gets to the sideline. Let the Zebras call the game and pipe down. Okay? So there were a lot of things that happened tonight. You have to look at them individually. That was not what I would consider good NCJLA behavior. Okay? From a coaching standpoint, that's disappointing for my kids to have to see from another coach. All right? Just like some of the other stuff we did on the field was slightly disappointing tonight. Overall, good win. Another step towards our goal. Let's come together as a team. Let's break it down, and let's move on. Okay? Water under the bridge. Better discipline. Break it down, discipline. Thank you, parents.
1, 2, 3.
Coach. Okay, I gotta go.
Kill him, Joe.